Okay, Brian, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Long day today, huh?
Yes, very long.
Doing a lot of work, right?
A lot of work, yeah.
Hey, so why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
So I'm Brian Betancourt. I'm the owner and CEO of Betancourt Construction. I've had this business for 30 years. I'm a third generation contractor and been doing it ever since I can remember.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you're out of where? Where are we?
We're at St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay. And so what do you think of that market?
This market's pretty hot for residential.
Uh-huh.
You know, we're a community of bungalows.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're always, that prime market for us is right around that 70, 80, up to $100,000 mark. So it's a lot of remodels.
Yeah.
And we get a couple of new hits here and there, new builds.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, we do pretty well with the remodel work.
I think the remodel work is really big here because the cost of capital is expensive. And this is a middle class, this is like a middle tier market, right? And so
yeah.
I think that the renovation and remodel market is hot here because the people are staying in their homes and they're just investing back in the house, right?
Yeah, longevity in their homes, yeah, definitely.
Big time.
Yeah.
So we've been able to take advantage of that. You've been able to benefit from that this year, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody where you were last year and where you're at now?
So last year I was at an total revenue of like $650,000.
Okay.
And this year we're at 12 million now.
Right.
And we're still growing. The end of the year is not even here yet. And, you know, we keep signing work every day. So we've tripled our growth in 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, massively. Okay, so then let me ask you, what do you think are the reasons why you were able to grow so fast in such a short period?
Well, I can contribute it to all one thing, and that's this ALP, you know, thing that we were in.
Yeah.
You know, I became a member in September of 2022, and ever since then, it's been a rocket ship, with, of course, your guidance and your tutelage. You've set in play those things that I just didn't know, and
Right.
when I set those things in play and what I didn't know, I set in play, and it just took off. So. Yeah, I contribute all to the ALP network.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. Well, you did all the work.
Yeah.
I mean, I was with you every step of the way, but you did the work. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
So there's probably a lot of contractors that are going to watch this and see it on social, see it on long form.
Right.
What advice can you give these guys who are starting out or maybe be stuck in a rut, kind of feel like they're on a hamster wheel and they can't get moving? What are some key takeaways that you've taken away this year? And I know it's not just one thing. It's going to be multiple things,
Right.
Because this business is so dynamic.
Right.
But like off the top of your head, what are some of the main key points advice you would give to contractors?
Well, I was there. You know, I was in that hamster wheel, just never growing, just out there and just spinning my wheels. And I think the main thing these young guys could do, the newbies in the trade, is just learning your craft, understanding the business side. And not consider yourself as a tradesman, but consider yourself as a contractor, right? Mm-hmm. And understanding, you know, get in the weeds, understand your financials, how that works, understand how to grow the business, and understand that, you know, first of all, you're a salesman. You're not a contractor. So a lot of contractors get stuck because they think they should be on the tools,
Right.
You know, out there swinging the hammer or, you know, on the skill saw, whatever.
Right.
And it's not true. You'll never grow if you're like that.
Right.
So I just tell these young kids all the time, it's like, you got to get out of you got to get out of the field, and
Right.
you got to become a businessman. If you want to stay a tradesman, then go work for someone else, right?
Right.
But to be a contractor, you have to be very dynamic. You got to understand all aspects of this trade, and you got to learn. It's every day is a learning experience. So if you're not willing to learn, then you know, this is not the craft for you. Yeah.
I agree. What do we say the root word of contractor is?
It's contract.
It's contract.
Yeah.
It's not hammer and nail gun.
It's definitely not. No.
So this is a true business.
It's very true, yeah.
All right. So when you put best business practices in place, very specific contracting businesses in place,
Mm-hmm.
and you kill your fear, you learn how to close deals.
That's right, yeah.
You put those two together, you set up SOPs and best practices, we get organized with the business,
Mm-hmm.
very organized with the financials, the jobs are run financially and schedule driven, then magic happens, right?
That's right, yeah.
So I think one of the reasons why you've grown so much is because you had a knack for selling, right?
It was a knack I never knew I had.
Yeah.
It was like a beast that was inside of me that I just never knew was there.
Yeah.
And once I learned just those little bit of crafts about the sales, it just took off. Yeah. So I really consider myself a salesman.
Totally.
I'm really not a contractor. I'm
Yeah.
a salesman.
That's right.
Yeah.
But for the guys that are watching, because you can picture the guys with the desk as the dashboard.
Yeah.
They're probably cussing the screen out right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Right? And the only person you're lying to is yourself, guys, right?
You can't look yourself in the mirror, you know.
I mean, like, let's get real here, right? But so the point is that you started taking this as a business. You learned how to sell and close, so it lifted that fear from you.
Right.
And then, like you said, this beast was just unchained.
Yeah.
But I caveat that by saying you've been on the tools for how many years?
Shoot, 26 years.
You were on the tools before you met me last year.
I was on the tools when I met you.
When you met me, you were on the tools. So I want the audience to understand that.
Right.
Because a lot of these guys who are afraid to move to the business end because of whatever insecurities they may have and of the not knowing that are probably cussing us out right now.
Right, right.
Those guys, you were those guys.
I was that guy.
You were on the tools up until last year. You got off the tools. You went from 650,000 to 12 million. You could never do that on the tools, right?
Never.
So what had to be done in the first few months of us working together is we had to kill the fear. We had to grow you as a person and build your confidence up to be a business person. Change how you dress, change how you talk, give you some skills, right, in that area. And then when that happened and you adopted that, you flew.
Yeah, took off.
And to your credit, everything I told you to do in the beginning, you just did it. Yeah. And if you look at the other guys in the group who have also exponential growth like you, it's because they didn't resist anything I told them to do.
Right.
Because I have this systematized.
Definitely.
So if you follow the system step by step, paint by number, you're going to get to where you need to be, right? Or at least as far as you'd like to be.
I agree.
So right now we're at a $12 million choke point. We've taken on, let's talk about that. How many project managers do you have now?
I have 3 project managers.
You have 3 project managers. Right. 2 of the project managers are big-time public works New York City guys.
That's right, yeah.
So a year ago, could you imagine having those guys in that room?
Never. It was just me and my truck.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we made business decisions.
Right. I became a businessman.
You became a businessman.
Right.
And then we were able to recruit talent. And we interviewed these guys, and I was with you on all those calls. I helped you interview those guys, right?
Yeah.
Also, tell the audience that when you did this, you had no money.
I had no money. Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing. It was a stretch to reach out to me, right?
Yeah. I looked you up. I social media'd you. I asked for referrals.
Yeah.
And it was a huge nut for me to get on board.
Yeah.
But I'm always that type of guy that I've always wanted to learn something, right? So I was willing to go ahead and invest because I understood it was an investment in me. And honestly, I was just sick and tired of doing what I was doing. 26 years of just grinding the stone. And I was like, I got to make a move. Something has to happen. So I made that move. I put it on an American Express card.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of where we're at today.
Yeah. So I want the people that are watching this to know that now you have 3 project managers, 2 monster project managers. We have an administrative staff. We're in this brand new office. We moved out of that other office.
Right.
And when I first came and visited you down here, I helped you do the deal for this office.
That's right. Yeah, we walked this together with the landlord.
Yeah. And we put the moves on them right there.
Yeah, scared the hell out of them.
Yeah. So I want everyone to know that scaling to this point was done,
right,
based on the money from our customers.
That's right. Yeah, I have.
There was no war chest.
No, there's no war chest. There was no war chest.
No war chest.
Right, no.
Right. So the business can be done and can be scaled using typical best business practices in contracting. But if you don't know them, you don't know them. And if you don't do them, then what?
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
and nothing's going to happen.
It's a waste of time.
It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
So now, maybe some of the cameras could see here, but behind you is a board. And we've systematized everything. We lay everything out. We've organized everything. Those are some of the projects behind you.
Right.
We did $770,000 in business this week.
Yeah.
All right. I was here for both of those contract signings.
That's right. Yeah.
And so we continue the constant gardening effort of marketing and lead gen and closing deals, right?
Right. Right.
So what do you have to say for your potential customers that are going to see this? Because I hope that this goes on your social medias and on your website as a testament to you.
Right.
What do you have to say to your potential customers?
That we're, you know, our potential customers, I've been at this forever. And I really kind of pride myself on integrity, right? I never want to do anything that jeopardizes my integrity, my thoughts of how things should be done. So I'm very true to that. So my customers got to understand that we're not the average contractor.
Right.
You know, we may not be the cheapest, but we have management, we hold schedules, we hold budgets. We do a lot of footwork up front to make sure we get that accurate price. And then, of course, we're in the project. We're here to hold your hand throughout the whole thing. And I just want my customers to know that we're very integrity. I mean, everybody says they're integrity, right? It's all, you know, it's smoke and mirrors. But my proof's in the pudding. You know, we're a 5-star review. You know, you don't get that from doing things wrong, right?
Right.
And so that's what I just tell my customers, that, you know, if you're looking for someone that can do the job right and someone that will have your best interest and manage your risk, you know, because a lot of contractors don't even know what that is.
No.
Manage someone's risk.
Right.
You know, they just think it's, you know, go to work and build something, you know, and that's it.
Right.
So we have the whole shebang. 30 years and, you know, I've learned a lot.
Right.
I've learned a lot. So, yeah.
That's the altitude that you have.
Right.
You bring massive altitude to the deal because you've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the key. I've been doing this my whole life, second generation, you're third generation.
Right.
Right. So since a high chair, I've learned about doing monster mega projects. That's all I've ever heard my whole life.
That's all my family talk about is construction.
That's it. Over and over. So when we sit with customers, a fisherman can always spot another fisherman. They understand these guys know what they're doing, right? Yeah. So that's a big part of your ability to close.
Yeah.
And it ties into what I always say, don't fake the funk.
Yeah.
Don't come into the contracting game just to think it's quick hit and flip. You're going to go out of business very quick.
Yeah, it's not that at all.
You're going to feel the pain.
Yeah.
Right? So this business is so dynamic because you do have to know the field portion, but then you have to be able to extract yourself from the field portion and then develop yourself as a business person.
I agree.
And then the person that you are from, let's say, where you were at 650,000 to the CEO that you are at 12 million are two totally different guys.
Totally different.
And then the 12 million to the 20 million also is going to be a different guy.
Different guy, yeah.
Right? Because now what you're doing is you're managing an organization now. You're building a brand. You're leading from the front.
Right.
From 650,000 to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, you still kind of got your hands in it and you're in the weeds. And now we're kind of elevating out of the weeds. Systems are in place. Guys are working. We're running our meetings more efficiently.
Right.
We're dialing everything in to scale to that next tranche, right?
I agree, yeah.
And so the key to this business is growth. Because the guy who started it compared to the guy who's running a $30 million operation or $100 million operation, those are not the same guys.
No.
You have to add so much game to yourself because you've got to know every aspect of this business.
Right.
Right? You have to start to be a leader. You got to know human resources and hiring. You got to sell and close. You got to know accounting. You got to know legal. And you got to know the bids. You got to know estimating. You got to be able to talk the talk and run with the guys and bring in air cover when there's issues and put out fires.
Agree, yeah.
Right? And so I think one of the hardest part for contractors is understanding the business portion and scaling, because many people get into the trades because they felt like they couldn't maybe potentially be a business person or go into another sort of field. So they kind of got pigeonholed into the trades, and then that mentality invades their brain.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I'm just a guy who's just going to be on the tools forever.
It's a sad thing.
It's sad, yeah, it's sad. This is a real business, one of the best businesses in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you can dial it in,
You get it right.
you get it right.
Amazing, yeah.
And there is, and you know, it's funny, like, you know, with the Instagram warriors out there, right? All the Instagram tough guys.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, there is a right way of doing something and there is a wrong way of doing it. There isn't, everybody has their different way. Not in contracting.
Nope.
This is a risk management game. And like I told you, I view the construction business and our business always like a hedge fund. We're deploying capital to get a 30-point return at least, right? And we have to do everything in our power to manage risk in order to make sure that that money comes back to us.
Got to protect that, yeah.
So that's first and foremost. And none of that has anything to do with a hammer and nails, right?
No.
It's all business practices, right? And so that's what's taking you from 650 to 12 million.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a willing to climb the ladder. You know, it's a willingness to learn, because every notch that you go in income, there's that next step of ladder you have to take. So now I have management, I have staff, I have, descriptions of work, SOPs, we have all that, everything. So now my next step is actually understanding how to be a better leader.
Right.
Right, because that's where I'm at. So from the 12 to the 20 to the 30, I think now it's time. Now I'm learning how to be a great CEO. From a tool guy swinging a hammer to now thinking I'm going to be a great CEO. What a difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I pinch myself every day. I look around like, wow,
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing. Yeah.
And aside from the business, I mean, how has your life been enriched?
Oh, amazing. Yeah. It's just the family kind of is different. The family dynamic is different. My son's in the business. He's happy to be here. He's you can see the excitement in him. My daughter's with me. She's in the business. My wife, was in the business. She does all the sales with me. So
right.
So she'll come out and she'll do sales with me. So it's kind of like a tag team thing, and it's more like we can play off one another.
Right.
And we don't go in there to pull the wool over customers' eyes. I am who I am, Right. And we go in there, me and her, and we kind of, explain the situation, tell you what to expect, and that's what we do. But the dynamic outside of the business, when you grow to a certain level, everything changes.
Right.
The family gets, you think the family would separate because you're so busy, today's what 30 hours in 2 days.
Yeah.
But they kind of respect you. They really look up to you now. When you're a laborer and you're out there just swinging the hammer, they kind of like, yeah, you're just a laborer.
Yeah.
Now you're a shirt and tie and jacket type of guy, and they
right.
kind of like it just elevates you as a person, as a contractor. As you elevate your game, everybody else around you will elevate the game with you.
Yeah, that's right. So it brought the family together. Even.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because now you guys are around something that it has actual potential.
We all have our hands around this thing that's we're trying to grow. So we all have our hands in it.
Right.
And we all can see the benefit from it.
That's the thing. You've experienced benefits so far. Yeah.
We go on trips together, so we're able to do things now that there's income.
Yeah.
And it's liberating to understand that you can actually not have to worry about your money because you can earn it.
Right.
So when you learn the sales, you really don't worry about the money.
Right.
Because I can go out tomorrow and go sell something.
Well, now that you have the playbook.
Yeah, now that I have the playbook, right? Yeah. So, it's liberating. It really is.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, for people watching, you're not the only contractor in a group that has scaled.
No. Yeah. No, there's many of us that have gone, that are millionaires.
Yeah.
There's many in this group that you would look at, you're like, that they've gone from nothing to where they are today.
Yeah.
And there's guys that have come in just for a short period of time that are scaling like amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing because they have the benefit of starting correctly. Mm-hmm. And they don't have to waste all that time like chasing their tail and running in circles, figuring it out. They have a solid foundation, Yeah. Guys like Ronnie are like that, Ethan's like that.
Yeah.
Andy's going to be like that. They're going to be monsters.
What I like about this group too is it's a willingness to share your experience with everybody. There's nobody here that kind of competes with one another. They're all willing to help elevate each other. You got guys like Steve Griggs, who has many years of experience.
Massive.
Who will take these young guys and just teach them how to, with your tutelage and his tutelage, of just raising these guys up, because we all want to see him do great things.
Yeah.
Right? There's not like, oh, he's going to be a contractor, and I don't want him to be like me. There's none of that.
No, we're a family here.
We're a big family.
Yeah, we're like united warriors.
We are, yeah.
And that's why we meet every day, and we do what we do every day and train. And so I think that the future's massively bright for you, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And I hope your customers see this, and so they can be proud of your journey as well, and know that they're in great hands.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most important thing. I saw the customers across the table from you the past 2 days. Mm-hmm. I watched you in action.
Yeah.
You did everything you're supposed to do.
Right.
And we don't, like you said earlier, the backbone of our philosophy, the true way to do business is to be honest in this business. Mm-hmm. Is to be honest up front. Right. Don't hide things. You'd be surprised how many contractors get on my Instagram are fighting me because I say, can you give me a material and labor breakdown? And these guys are like, what are you trying to backstab me? What are you trying to screw me? It's like, yo, are you crazy? Have you ever done a job in your life? Right. We're totally playing spades face up. We show the customers everything. We have absolutely nothing to hide.
Total transparency.
Complete. And so, but that allows us for a long-term gain, doesn't it? Short-term doesn't matter. It's about how long can we stay in business, scale this thing, keep 5-star reviews, make customers happy. We have the playbook. We know how to continuously market and generate leads. Right. We know how to manage the jobs, right? So doing the right thing is going to let you sleep at night, let your customers be happy, and you're going to be successful. There's a way to do this business the right way.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that you deliver what you say. If you're going to say something, just deliver it.
That's right.
Don't make a promise you can't uphold.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing we do here. You know, it's just, if we tell you we're going to do something, we're going to do it. You know,
you got to manage expectations.
You really do. You got to manage people's expectations. Yeah.
And be honest with them, and they'll respect you for it, right? So we built out quite a thing here.
It's becoming a little animal.
And it's because you're disciplined, right? Yeah. Another thing is that contractors, some people believe, and I hate this because I know some guys who believe this. They believe that this business can be run from your home. This business can be run for you waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning. This business can be ran from a yacht. No, it cannot. No. This is one of those businesses where you got to be in this office at 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
There has to be a leadership presence here when the men are on the tools at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. You got to work a full day. You got to be here. The presence has to be here. You need a real organization. You need to lead people.
Right.
And you need to elevate your game and lead from the front, and your people will follow. That's the culture that needs to be created, right? If you try to do it any other way, it's not going to work.
Right. I agree with all that. And, you know, and that's how I am. I'm the first one in and I'm the last one to leave. And I'm always here before anyone else because I want them to come in and see I'm at my desk working.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, man, Brian's already here working, you know. And it kind of just makes they know I'm working as hard as they are.
Right.
But these guys that think that they can run a construction company not present.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. There's no way. You cannot run a company, a construction company, and think you can do it not being involved.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
They got really bad advice.
Really bad.
And so they think that you got to work smarter, not harder. And the way you work smarter is by organizing the business, having best practices, knowing what to do, what not to do, and then multiplying your efforts by people. Smarter doesn't mean from a yacht.
Right.
It doesn't mean from your bed on your iPhone at 10 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Right. This business is one of the last bastions. It's still kind of old-fashioned a bit.
It is, really.
And it's because we deal in material and labor. We deal with primarily men. Yeah. And there has to, and they start early in the morning. And so if you need a workforce and a labor force and an employee force that's going to be in line and be dedicated, how the heck are they going to do that if you're not in the office?
Right.
And you're on a yacht somewhere, or like I said, you're shooting emails from home today or whatever.
Right.
Like, that may happen if you're sick, but otherwise there has to be a strong C-suite presence in the office every day.
Every day.
Right? My dad worked until he's in his late 60s. Everybody, that's the name of this game. And if we didn't have the elder statesmen around, the younger guys need guidance, and we have fires that need to be put out every day that are completely unforeseen. We try to account for everything, right? And plan for everything, but we got to put out fires, and it requires oversight.
Right. Yeah.
And air cover. And that can't be done from some yacht somewhere in the Bahamas, right?
You won't know the situation. How would you know if you're not here and actually hands-on?
So it's a great business, and you can do very well, but you got to be hands on the wheel.
Definitely.
It's not a set it and forget it type deal.
No, this is definitely not a lazy man trade.
Not at all.
Not at all, right?
And I always say great contractors make great business people. Like great contractors that grow and scale companies, because the contracting business is so dynamic.
Gotta know everything.
Think about the other businesses where you just got to focus on one or two things. We got 100 moving pieces here, and you got to know all of it. Like today when we ran through financing and we were running through accounting and earned value and bonding and insurance. You've got to know all of that at the highest level.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to be able to protect your risk and understand what you're doing. Right? And in other businesses, that's not necessarily the case, right? And then you also need to know scheduling, and you also need to know how to build the job. You got to read drawings. You got to know engineering.
Right.
I mean, you got to know everything.
Yeah, and I think that's one of my strengths is because I was in the trade for 30 years. You know, reading drawings is very easy for me. Takeoffs is very easy. So, you know, when I go to my PMs, you know, and even though they're very high-end guys, I can still kind of help them out, you know, and you know, help them see the way through some things. Do they really need my help? You know, sometimes they do. Other times they just take it off, which is very liberating to have guys like that can actually take the reins and take it. You know?
So what those guys have, and what's very important, and having to know actually how to build a job, is means and methods.
Right.
Because that's the only place we can be malleable. Material cost is material cost.
Labor.
And we can negotiate whatever we can with our suppliers based on volume.
Right.
But we're moving out of the procuring material business.
Right.
Right? And you know, we're leaving that up to our subs. We're not taking that risk, that liability, especially that schedule risk. So where we could pick up time is in means and methods, and discussing how that's going to be done with our subs to get them more efficient, to get better pricing, to pick up time. Right. And if you don't know what you're doing out there, then you don't know means and methods. Right. So that's why coming out of the field is a good thing. That's why my dad had me in the field. That's why your son in the field. Right. Because he wouldn't be able to take over your seat if he were never in the field.
Yeah. No way.
So here we are, 12 million.
12 million.
Hopefully this time next year we'll be at 20 plus.
Yeah.
And then we'll have another. Do another interview. Well, I'm happy and I'm proud of you, man. And thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.